This is Crystal Lindsay, and this is my portfolio project reflection for macroeconomics. For this portfolio project, we were required to work as a group and answer 3 different case studies. Our course outcomes that relate to this project include explaining basic economic principles and theories, estimate the effects of supply and demand, theory on market forces, price elasticity, and government policies, and apply macroeconomic theory and basic principles to economic data sets. For the course outcome, explaining basic economic principles and theories, this relates to the project as we had to break down different questions and explain them thoroughly based on the information given. A lot of the information given was economic related and based on how it affects the economy and the supply and demand curves. And price elasticity and the effects of supply and demand relate as all 3 case studies were required to break down the supply and demand of a company and its graph, and to fix the graph to show the effects of the supply and demand for that particular case study. Working with a group for this project was not ideal. In the beginning, it took almost the entire week to get everybody in my group connected, and we lost a lot of time that way. 2 of the group members that I worked with had very minimal effort and were giving excuse after excuse, and that's of course not ideal. We mainly connected through text messaging, and it worked just to keep everybody together since nobody could commit to a specific time to connect and talk about the project and how we were going to solve each case study. We ended up deciding that due to this reason, our best course of action was for everyone to complete every study individually, and then I, as the group leader, combined everybody's work and efforts into one project and uploaded that. This worked well since everybody had different times. They couldn't all get together at once, and it worked good. If I had to do this again, I would have kept our approach the same, but I would have asked for a little more effort from a couple of the individuals I worked with. One of the individuals that I worked with, her effort was 1 sentence per question per study. So it was very minimal, and she had a lot of excuses about working too much or not having time to do it. And the other member, the very first week, she had computer problems, and then our last week, she was in the hospital. And if I had to do this differently, I think that I would not do a group. I would do it individually and take the hit for the points. I don't believe that groups in an online format is the best way to get a project done. It's hard to get everybody connected, and it just doesn't work well. I think that being in a classroom setting and having groups is a much better way to go about doing class projects.